Repeat business, the holy grail of customers or clients. We all want people to come back and spend more money with us. And what if I could tell you, you could automate it using AI? Sounds interesting to you? You're going to want to stay tuned for the show here today. Welcome to the KeyHire Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Harlock, creator of KeyHire Solutions, where we help small business scale. Before we dive into the show, got a few quick asks for you. If you're watching us on YouTube or listening on podcasts, hit the subscribe or follow button. Help us spread the word. We're here to help you out and help small business owners. And the more reach we can get, the more people we can help. Secondly, if you have any comments on the show, we always love to hear from you, with your thoughts on the show or ideas you have for future shows. We make it real easy. If you're listening to us on your handheld, just go to the show notes. The top line says, text us your comments or topic ideas for future shows. Hit that, voice to text or thumb type it, send it to us. We'll get it and we will respond to you. And the third thing is just connect with me on LinkedIn. I always want to connect with business owners. So send me a connection request on LinkedIn and I'll be sure to accept that. We did a show with Melinda Emerson on September 22nd, and we got a ton of feedback on Melinda. She brought the energy. More importantly, she brought a tagline that I have heard more than anything else from doing this podcast. Chuck H. Commented on it, and he loved the energy, but more importantly, he loved her term, pitch slap. Don't be pitch slapping people. I've heard that term from everyone who listens to the podcast that I've run into in the last week or two. So thanks, Chuck, for the comment. And then Chris M. Also commented on that particular episode, and he said he thought it was very thought-provoking, and he said it made him think of another concept that he likes a lot. Great leadership means putting the right people in the right position. So Chuck and Chris, thanks so much for your comments. We appreciate it. All right, on to today's show. Today, our guest is Bryan Clayton. He's the CEO and co-founder of GreenPal. It's an online marketplace that connects homeowners with local lawn care professionals. Entrepreneur Magazine has called GreenPal the Uber for lawn care. Very cool concept. Matt, let's bring on Bryan. Hey, man. How you doing?
Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Yeah. It's funny, before we came on air, I had my GreenPal lawn guy out here blowing by my window. And you said, yeah, I've heard it. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Now, where are you sitting here today? I know I asked you, but I forgot.
Yeah, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. So that's where I'm from. And so this is home for me. And I was lucky to have grown up in this part of the country. It's booming and it's a great place to own a small business.
It's a great town. One of my favorites. I've done a couple shifts at Tootsie's.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You've been around the block.
I did like an 8-hour shift there one day. It was fantastic.
You can definitely do that. You can start at 10 o'clock and run till 3 in the morning if you want. So much fun. And I'm actually going. My son has a hockey tournament in Nashville in January of this year. So I'll be in
nice. Yeah. Yeah. So just give us the Reader's Digest on GreenPal.
Yeah. So GreenPal, like you said, is a platform. It's a mobile app and a website that works kind of like DoorDash or Instacart or Uber, but for grass cutting services. So rather than mowing the yard yourself or calling around on Facebook or something, you can just download GreenPal, you pop your address in, and then GreenPal takes care of everything else for you. It measures how big your yard is and analyzes what lawn care services are nearby and helps connect you with them. And then you can just order them like you would order something on Amazon, just by pushing a button on your phone, and they come out and mow your yard for you.
So I'm having a birthday party for my kid and the lawn looks like hell and I got a million things to do and I just need someone to come and cut it. I dial them up and they show up.
That's right. Yeah. And the thing is there's small business owners that are in this industry that want that business, but it's hard to find them. It's hard to get connected with them. The business owners that have like a web presence or a social media presence, they're typically over full and they're looking for super high paying gigs or big landscaping projects. They're not looking for basic maintenance. And so GreenPal solves that problem. It connects you with the smaller operators that need that work.
That's cool. Well, thanks for the background on the business, but what really got my attention when we initially talked was you're really an early adopter of AI, or you're using it a lot. And one thing you had talked about was how to create repeat business using AI. And I mean, in sales, once you have a client, the easiest sale is reselling to that client, right?
Totally.
They've already put up their hand and said, I like you. And I've already tried to cross that barrier. I've given you the money. I've crossed the chasm. So we've established a relationship. I know if I give you my money, you're going to, not take advantage of me and deliver a service. So walk me through kind of when you talk about creating repeat business with AI, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's almost impossible to build any kind of successful business, small or large, without satisfied customers. And that should go without saying, but as founders, we oftentimes lose sight of that, as crazy as it sounds. And we almost don't even want to talk to our customers because they can be insatiable, they can be unreasonable, and we only get the phone call when they're pissed off about something, and it's just not pleasant a lot of times. And so a lot of times you can lose sight of that. But you have to remind yourself, you cannot build a successful company if you don't have satisfied customers. And like 99% of the people that do business with you need to be happy, and your business's survival and its growth depend on that, because you need to keep the business and you need the referrals. So this is something I'm always having to kind of bake into my habits and bake into my workflow. And recently I have stumbled upon using AI as a way to kind of supercharge that. And I heard a quote the other day that there was a Steve Jobs quote, and he said that Steve Jobs said that a software was like a bicycle for the mind. And then I heard that AI is kind of like a rocket ship for the entrepreneur. And that stuck with me. And I thought, okay, well, I'm going to try to use these tools where I can. And I'm just going to start with ChatGPT and Google Gemini and try to treat it as my rocket ship, try to treat it as kind of like my personal assistant, my business coach in my pocket. And so I asked it this. I said, hey, I have to figure out a way to make my customers happier. So give me some tips on that. Give me some strategies. And it came up with a routine it proposed to me on a routine on a weekly basis. It said, well, you probably don't realize this, but your customers are already telling you how to make them happier, and they're already telling you what R&D you need to be focused on in your business, and it's in your phone conversations with them and in your online reviews. And it said, if you want, I can look over the transcripts of the phone calls that you're having with your customers, and I can give you some ideas. And also I can look over the reviews about your business. Would you like for me to do that? And so I said, yeah, sure. And set up a project in ChatGPT and started giving it what it asked for. And so we use a platform called OpenPhone, and it's just a simple voice over IP solution that we have for some of our phone numbers. And in that software, you can get transcripts of your phone calls, both voice and you can translate them to text. And so,
Sure.
So I started just copy pasting and putting that into ChatGPT, and it went to work. Did there's a long process you can do on there, like a deep research is what it's called. Gemini has this as well. And so it took about 5 minutes and kind of just crunched through the raw information. It was a lot of it. It was probably 30 pages of transcripts from the last couple of weeks. And it came up with like 10 things that we need to work on, but 3 that were really important right now. And then it came up with ideas on how to work on those. And so we just started going to work on those 3 things. And it was kind of stuff that we had in the back of our mind, but we didn't realize, at least I didn't as the founder, as how much low-hanging fruit that was like sitting right in front of me when I'm focused on all of these other things. It's kind of like if you're trying to chop down a tree. I was hacking at the leaves when I needed to be hacking at the trunk.
Sure.
And,
are you able to kind of give us an idea of what some of those 3 might have been?
Yeah, totally. So one was we get way more phone calls from lawn care pros that need to that need to reschedule because of rain or something, and they don't know how to do that, or they forget to do that, or are too lazy to do that, or don't want to do that. And so that was the first thing. And I knew this was a problem, but I didn't realize it was like 40% of the tickets that we got in the last 3 weeks. And so
just to be clear, so someone requests a service for tomorrow afternoon and it's raining tomorrow afternoon.
That's right.
So that lawn care professional just kind of doesn't show up because it's raining, but they don't notify anyone or reschedule it or do anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so the way we started to approach this was we built a solution where we ingest weather data through APIs from like weather.com and other weather APIs. And we then match those against appointments. And then we figure out a probability of, okay, it's 70% chance of rain in Austin tomorrow. This vendor has 9 appointments scheduled. Let's email all of those customers of theirs and tell them that they're probably not going to get service, and that system will automatically reschedule them to the next day, and also let the vendor know. And send the vendor a confirmation, if just respond to a text message, 1 or 2, if they want to take that action. We built that, and those types of queries reduced by like 90%. And then we started working on the next thing, and then I'm like, damn, this is something I knew we kind of needed to do, but I know we didn't need to put it like at the front, and it just made really like clear to me that I had, because we have around our team's around 50 or 60 people depending on the time of the year, and I had people working on things that were important but not like the most important, and so I kind of reshifted resources and put people on this kind of core thing. And then after that, we started ingesting all of the online reviews. So Yelp, Google Places, Facebook, our own internal reviews where people leave feedback inside of the platform. Like, we have it, but we weren't crunching it. And started using, actually Gemini was the best solution for that. And started getting more insights around, okay, we know, okay, here's the 10 big problems and here are the 3 most important. We solved one, let's work on the next one. And the next one was what to do when the vendor kind of changes the price. Like sometimes they have to change the price because the lawn is a little too tall, or they didn't realize how big it was, or
right.
or
so they show up on site and it's different than what they were kind of, the app told them it was going to be.
Exactly. And so the way we started to solve for that was, okay, well, first let's identify like the habitual offenders of this problem, because it's not all users of it. And so the first thing we did was we started to analyze the transactional history of lawn care services that use the platform and say, okay, well, this guy, like 65% of the time he comes out, he changes the damn price.
So you had people that were using it to get in the door, and
and so this guy is like
upcharging people, or not even upcharging, not giving them
the switch.
No, this is going to cost more than
classic bait and switch. And that was the thing I didn't realize. I mean, I knew that happened sometimes, but I didn't realize how often it was happening. And so this allowed me to kind of hone in on exactly how much that was happening. And it forced us to build in workflows and tools to say, okay, if somebody hits this tipping point of changing the price on the first service with their customer, then we need to put them on probation and say, hey, you've changed 9 out of the last 10 appointments, the pricing, we're going to stop sending you opportunities if you don't improve this metric. And so that was the first thing we did. Then after that, we that solved like over half of them. And that improved the problem by 50%. And then after that, we started diving into the other use cases of, okay, well, sometimes it does need to be changed. But the homeowner isn't cool with that. So we then let them try to see if anybody else wants it at that same price. And some lawn care companies do kind of solve for the next kind of batch. And then from there on out, it was a lot of little things that we did little tweaks in the product for. And so, yeah, that was 2 big things that we started tackling first. And we're still doing this on a weekly basis.
Yeah. That's the old lean principles, right? Continuous improvement.
That's right. Yeah. And it's never ends. And just because you solve one thing, that just means you get to solve 5 more things. Like, and the more you embrace that, the better it can set you up.
Are you finding as you go through this, the things you're improving or solving for are getting a little smaller, easier, faster to improve upon?
Well, yes, not easier, but less quick wins. But what I'm finding is as I take care of the obvious ones, I get into the zone of things I had no idea about. And I heard an interview with Brian Chesky one time. He's the founder of Airbnb. And he was saying, well, he was like, an exercise that I try to go through is I try to figure out like what's a 10-star experience for our customer. He said, we've got the 5-star rating system, and like we all know what that is. But what if you could like have a 10-star system, and what would a 10-star Airbnb experience look like?
Right.
So he started on the interview, he started like going through that. He's like a 5-star experience is you show up, the Airbnb's clean, great location, host greets you, beds are clean. Yeah. Wi-Fi works great.
It is as advertised or a little better.
And that's a 5-star experience.
That's a 5-star experience for sure.
And that was his point exactly. Was that a 5-star experience is like you're not pissed off and let down.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, yeah, this is what we saw in the pictures. This is great.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not hoodwinked by, you're not catfished by the Airbnb listing. And so he's intuitively, he's aware that Airbnb for the most part is Russian roulette when you're booking on that platform.
Yep.
And so to try to help like treat this, he's like, okay, but what does a 10-star experience look like? He was like, a 10-star experience would be like, I roll into town and I land and my host picks me up in a limousine, takes me out for drinks after, after they picks me up, a chauffeur, or a butler takes my luggage for me. And I show up, the place is like 10 times better than I thought. And he's like, oh yeah, guess what? We're going to a private party with Drake tonight. And so that's a 10-star experience. He's like, now we can't deliver a 10-star experience, but how can we close the gap between where we are today and a 10-star experience? And using AI to close that gap. And so you start with this really like far flung out goal. Elon Musk does this with going to Mars. And then you work backwards from that. And that kind of shifts everything about your thinking. And now with AI, it is a rocket ship for you as a founder.
Right.
You can start like, because before it's like, I don't have the resources for any of this stuff. So it doesn't matter. Like there's no reason to do any of it. Well, now you do. Like you literally have a data scientist that went to MIT. You have like a business consultant from Deloitte. You've got a chief financial officer from the best school for that domain. Yeah. And they're all like around you like every day, and they just want to make you happy. That's literally the tools that you have at your disposal now. And you can query them, and they're infinitely patient, and they'll talk to you at 4 a.m. and they will help you through these problems. And so now it's just on you as the founder. Like if you're not going to use these tools, then you're just being too lazy to not do it. And so you can close the gap between where you're at in a 10-star experience. And the way I kind of think about it is that, but also magic. Like what would make the GreenPal platform magical? And magic would be like you hire somebody, they show up a day early, they do the job for less than they quoted, and they give you the next mow free, and they also trim the bushes. And it's like, how can we close the gap between where we're at and magic? And so to answer your original question, it's like, as I get through these cycles, we get 1 inch closer to magic. We're not there. We're nowhere near there, but we get 1 inch closer to what magic might look like.
I like the magic. It used to be called the wow, right? How do you wow your guests and all that? It's funny. We here in Houston, we have a gallery furniture, and the owner's name's Mattress Mac, and his big thing is get it delivered today. You buy it this afternoon, it comes tonight. But his crew, they'll set everything up, and before they leave, they'll say, "Anything else you want us to do while we're here?" Nice. And if you say, "Well, can you move this piece of furniture for me?" Sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. And here we are talking about it, right? I didn't know who that guy was, and now I do. And all your listeners do. So what's that worth?
Yeah. 7,000 business owners are going to hear it, right? So
what's that worth?
Yeah. Well, let's move into that. That's cool. Thank you for kind of letting us in and walking us through your experience. I'm sure you made some mistakes along the way with all this stuff, Bryan, when you first started it, or how you got it set up. What would you caution people against if they want to kind of start, if they're thinking about this? Oh, this sounds cool. What are the mistakes you can caution them against or steer clear of?
Yeah, the mistakes that I made was probably the same mistake everybody makes, and maybe even why a lot of people try it and don't stick with it, is because you think it's AI, and so it should just do what it is you have in your head. And you kind of have to really think about it, like I just said, as a person. And you have to really think about it maybe as like a team of people, and you have to communicate it in a weird way, not as a machine, but as a person.
Right.
Because if you can be super specific about what it is you want, what your expectations are, what the raw data looks like, preparing the raw data and handing it over the same way that you would as a human being, then it can go to work and do a better job than 99% of humans would do on it. But if you don't do those things, and then you just give it some half-assed data with half-assed instructions, then that's what you're going to get back. And you may even worse, get the wrong information back. You'll get false positives back. So you have to set up context about, okay, I want you to take on the role as a chief data scientist for my bakery.
Right.
And I want you to also, by the way, you have, so say I'm running a bakery, and I want to run my bakery at the same scale as Panera Bread, but food that doesn't taste like it came from a hospital cafeteria. And you say,
is that an indictment on Panera?
Say again?
Is that an indictment on Panera?
Yeah, I had Panera the other day, and it literally tasted like it came from a hospital cafeteria. So you could say that you would literally want to say this. If you had a small corner bakery, this is how you would approach AI. You say, you worked for Panera with the co-founder, and you've been with Panera since day one, and so you understand scale and systems and processes, and you also went to MIT and Harvard Business School, and you studied all of these things, and now you are my co-founder in my bakery, and we're going to scale just like Panera, but we're not going to lose quality, and we're gonna have like the best croissants and sandwiches in the greater Houston, Texas market. So I want you to come up with a business plan and a set of a set of tasks that we're going to work on over the next year, and let's make it as granular as possible, and let's start lining it out week by week, and it will generate that for you. It might take 5 or 10 minutes, but it will make that for you. And now here you are, you have something that like probably would have cost $1 million from McKinsey. You just got it done for free, and probably better than what a lot of consultants would have done ultimately. And so that's like, so there's literally no excuse to grow and scale your company if that's what you want to do with your life.
And you're talking about the prompting, which is a lot of that's where they say education's going. It's not going to be teaching people this crazy math or accounting or whatever it is. It's going to be teaching people how to be expert prompters for AI, so you can get the information you want correctly. And I think what you're alluding to is you kind of have to play around with it, right? Like, you don't expect, I know when I use AI, sometimes I'll just be a little loosey-goosey, not give it too much direction, and it'll spit it out and I'll go, okay, that's not what I wanted. So I'll add a new line in, right? Okay, let's include these couple lines, and then it'll get there, and then I'll go, oh, okay, we're almost there. Let's not do this, but let's do this instead. So you spend your time on the input, not the output, if that makes sense. So you don't sitting at your desk writing a business plan or typing it in or whatever. It takes a long time.
Exactly.
And prompting takes time. It takes time. You can't just do it once, say, well, that didn't work, and give up. You got to play with it and keep narrowing it down.
That's exactly right. And I think we kind of like all know this, but we get lazy at that step. I know I do too.
Yeah,
and then
for sure.
I get pissed off at it, like it is a human being, which is funny. But the thing is it's like sharpening your axe. If you wanted to go chop a tree down, it's like the Abe Lincoln quote. I think he said, if I was going to chop a tree down, I would spend 10 hours sharpening my axe and 1 hour chopping, and not the inverse. And so it's just like that. And so set it up for success. Now, by the way, these are the worst that these tools will ever be.
Today they're as bad as they will ever be. Yeah.
This is as awful as they will ever be. And so they're getting better very, very quickly. So it's kind of important to learn at the ground level how to take advantage of them, because if you don't, then you're going to easily get left behind. And so baking them into your habits, into your workflow, into your business workflows is critical at this point.
Awesome. So what other is there any other mistakes that come to mind that you made or you would caution people against?
Yeah. Just going blindly with what it says and just implementing it. God, I made a big mistake one time. I had a group of developers. This is not related to what we're talking about, but this was a big mistake that I made with AI. I had a group of developers that were working on something, and when you're building code, different guys are shipping, or different developers are shipping different parts of the code. And if one of them screws up and doesn't synchronize at the right time, it can really cause problems. And to analyze they're called merge conflicts. To analyze these conflicts, you got to really just dig through the code line by line. And it's such a painstaking process. And usually AI is really good at that, at just taking a mess of data and like making sense of it, whether it's in a spreadsheet or in some unstructured form, and making it really easy to understand. And so I took 7 pages of this code and like threw it in there and said, hey, analyze this and tell me which developer made the mistake. And it went through it and it said, yep, I found it. It's this guy. He made the mistake yesterday with his commit at 7:38 p.m. And this is what he did. I'm like, thank you. That saved me 5 hours. I took that and I put it in the company thread, and I kind of called this guy on the carpet and said, hey, you screwed up. You didn't follow protocol, and you did this thing, and here's what you did. And about an hour later, he comes back with screenshots. He's like, no, that wasn't me. That was this guy, and this is what he did. And it was flat out wrong.
Right.
Wrong. So it really comes trust, but verify.
Yeah.
And when it really comes down to it and your reputation's on the line, or some big critical things on the line, verify it, go through it. Just like you would, just like you would somebody who worked for you, you would go through it and before you kind of hung your reputation on it. And so yeah, that's a mistake that I've made, but that doesn't happen often, and it wins way more times than it screws up. So don't.
But that almost lulls you into that false sense of security because it gets it right so many times. So when it gets it wrong, you think, oh, this is right.
Right. And the really insulting thing is you go back to it and you're like, hey, no, actually it's this, and this, you screwed up. And it's like, oh, you're right. Thanks for catching that. I'm like, why didn't you just do that the first time?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Okay. Well, if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, this sounds cool. I could utilize AI to, going back to the create your repeat business, like improve your, would you say add some magic to my business, right? How would they get started? Give us the top, first 3 to 5 steps to get this thing rolled out.
So as of today, pretty much every AI tool is resting on top of ChatGPT or Gemini or some other language model. So you got these language models, and think of ChatGPT as like the chat tool that sits on top of it, and that's pretty much all of them sit on top of that. So if you're just using ChatGPT, you're doing pretty much what any AI tool can do. It's just that those tools kind of like build some like building blocks on top of it that make it a little easier to work with. So I would start with ChatGPT first and like hand crank it, copy, paste, import file. And I would literally do exactly what I did. I would use my customer feedback as free R&D. And I would use my publicly available customer feedback and also the private feedback in terms of phone conversations and emails, support tickets. If you use something like a customer support channel, and then I would take all of this stuff and I would ingest it and put it in one of these language models, and I would use the long deep learning, deep thinking product. And I would pay the $200 a month for this stuff, by the way. It's the cheapest money you'll ever spend. And I would do these cycles on a weekly basis. That is where I would start with 99% of businesses, because most businesses aren't learning from customer feedback in almost any shape or form.
Right.
They might say they are, and they might think they are, but until you do something like this, you'll realize how much you're not. And you'll realize how much you disdain your customers, as crazy as that sounds. And this almost in a weird way abstracts it, where it's like it's not personal. Because a lot of times as founders, we take the customer feedback personally. It's like, there's just, God, that person's a jerk. Well, let AI deal with that, and let AI ingest that, sort it out, put a check on this box that this is another person pissed off about this one thing. Otherwise, you would be dismissive of that person, that they're unreasonable. Well, AI is indifferent, and it's a real clean, efficient way to kind of ingest all of this customer feedback and make it actionable.
Sure.
And not get like lost in like paradox by choice. What do you work on? It will stack rank it. The top. This is the most important thing you and your team need to be working on this month. Is this one thing your customers are telling you, and don't even worry about the 99 other things until you get this one thing fixed.
Would you say doing some research or a quick and dirty online course on how to prompt would be valuable? Because I know I went to a presentation and the guy spent some time on prompting, and it was really eye-opening for me that what you can tell it to do and how you can tell it to do these things. It's very structured, right? Like you alluded to, acting as my director of marketing and speaking in the language of Bryan Clayton, or in the voice of Bryan Clayton. Can you analyze these documents? And boom, 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 boom. Would you recommend someone understand prompting?
Absolutely. From 2 standpoints. One, just using the tool and improving your own prompting. But yes, you need to be listening to about 10 different people on YouTube that are talking about this stuff. I'm usually like a big online course guy, and I'm usually like, hey, learn the basics before you try to code or try to design software or do anything. Like invest in yourself. So I would normally say yes, but what I have found is the best people with the best knowledge on this particular thing are just practitioners of it. And they're just, because this stuff is changing week by week. And so somebody who's going to invest in a long course that costs $199, that thing is going to be almost out of date, like in a month. And so I have found like structured learning is not quite there yet for this stuff because it's moving so quickly.
Right.
You just need to be tuned into daily updated YouTube channels, email newsletters, because the way you prompt today is not the same way you prompt a year ago or 6 months ago.
Right.
There's things you do differently. And so there's a few people that I listen to on YouTube, you know, and there's so much that you kind of need to be keeping up with that when you're in the car, like the car, it just needs to be a mobile classroom. Like you cannot be listening to music or talk radio or something like that. You've got to be listening to people talking about these tools because that's the only time you got, at least I'm talking about from my own experience. This is the only time you have to like ingest this new knowledge.
Yeah.
And then you'll get you'll find yourself like noting down stuff like, yeah, I'm going to try that, or just using ChatGPT at that moment. And so that's how I would approach it. I would try to like dial into 4 or 5 people that are practitioners using this in their industry or business, talking about it. That they have an angle on how they're making money. Maybe they're selling a product that's that's related to this stuff, or maybe they are selling a course and this is their lead in. I mean, everybody's is going to make money somehow with their content, but that's what I would do. And then yes, like listening to at least 3 or 4 hours a week of this type of content is important.
Awesome. Any other pieces of advice you would offer up?
Yeah, let me think. I would just use one tool. I would not try to use Grok, Gemini, ChatGPT, and then also Perplexity, and then also like a vertical tool that claims to be the AI. There is a million of these new tools available for our industry, the landscaping industry. Of this is the best AI tool for routing or something. And then a lot of people are just going to start with that, and then it's like not going to work, and then they're just going to be, well, AI is stupid. This is a bubble. I would just use one tool and not use anything else, and I would do that until I kind of got some momentum going, and then I would layer on other things around that. Because the problem is if you start using everything, you're not going to get any like real traction with any of them, because a lot of the magic is its accumulation of knowledge about the context of what it is you want. And so the more you use one of them, the more it understands your communication style, your expectations, your industry, what it is you're doing. And those things begin to compound. And then as they put more firepower behind these tools, that stuff will begin to compound even faster. So that's how I would do it. And personally, I use more ChatGPT than I do anything, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily better than Gemini or a lot of people like Anthropic, but I would just pick one and go all in on it.
I think that's a smart way to go. And then once you kind of master that one, or feel like have a level of competency, mastery might be a long way away, but once you have a level of competency, you can kind of explore other ones. But you're right. If you use too many of them, they don't fully learn who you are. I know with KeyHire, we use a team GPT, everyone, and it just starts to understand exactly what we're doing. So all of the stuff we're plugging in, no matter who plugs it in, it comes out with the same tone, the same language, and it looks like it's all written by the same person, which is very cool.
Yeah, you want to do something that's scary and funny at the same time. After you use one of these things for a month or 3 months, just open up a new thread and ask it to roast you.
Well, that's a good idea. I should do that. Yeah.
It's scary.
It's kind of funny.
Really scary.
Bryan, this has been great. I appreciate the conversation. I think there's some really cool information here. If people want to reach out to you to learn more, or they want to, use your services, get with GreenPal, how can we reach you?
Yeah, best way to hit me up, LinkedIn. Just search my name, Bryan Clayton, LinkedIn. You may throw GreenPal in there, Bryan Clayton, GreenPal, LinkedIn, and it'll pop me up. Just drop me a DM there, and then greenpal.com is the best way to reach the website, and sign up and get free quotes for lawn mowing and spend time.
Is it yourgreenpal.com or GreenPal?
Either or,
okay.
Either one. Yeah.
I thought Matt got it wrong. He usually doesn't. I was like, oh.
No, he's on it. He's on it.
Cool, man. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate your time today in the conversation. Good information.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed it. It was a great interview.
All right, man. Thanks, Bryan. There you go. Bryan Clayton from Your GreenPal or GreenPal, whatever you want. Some super cool information about how to leverage AI, in particular, just how to get to know your customers and what they want from you. Really cool stuff about creating some magic. Before we sign off, I want to let you know next show is going to be very cool. So our next show is going to be the first KeyHire Small Business Roundtable podcast. We have 3 guests coming back from the past, and we're going to talk about a few different topics, get some different points of view on what's going on out in the business world. So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you subscribe or follow us on whatever platform you're listening to. Send us a message. Let us know what you think of the show or any topics you want us to cover. I'd like to thank you for tuning into the episode. I've been your host. My name's Corey Harlock. And until next time, stop grinding, start growing.